Makinde moves against rising food prices in Oyo State. On Shire report, federal government, Labour disagree on job losses. Some writers to that major story on the Vanguard. There won't be no job losses, according to the federal government. There will be massive job losses. Labour. NLC asks affiliates to tarnish it with implications on members. TUC sets 3-man committee. Scrap Senate. We don't need bicameral legislature. SANU. And this one says it's a welcome development but shouldn't be done in a hurry, according to Obi. Says being in opposition does not warrant blind, thoughtless criticisms. And away from that major one, Mambila, I have no regrets paying Agoloe's medical travel bills at Desonya. Tinubu to Nigerians, I won't rush to restructure. A writer says Akeredolu was a fearless defender of truth. President is indeed Aketi's brother, friend, Akeredolu's widow. And finally, out of the Vanguard paper, Tinubu secures $1 billion Afrexim Bank grants for medical industrialization. And that writer says to sign executive order and on reduction of cost of drugs.
All right, from the Daily Trust, you find these headlines. NCC orders MTN Glo to block SIMs without NIN. Hardship, I feel your pains, Tinubu tells Nigerians. Oronsai report, we won't throw people into labor market, federal government. Gombe young gymnast appeals for government support. Ayenuba wins ladies tennis at Nigeria Police Games in Ibadan. That's all sports related there. Elsewhere, Wige City of David Parish missing as family releases burial plans. Mixed reactions trail Tinubu's approval of Oronsai report implementation. Army court marshals, 1 officer. Army court marshals, 1 officer, 16 soldiers over gun running in Jos. Nigeria Daily Piece here from the Daily Trust this morning. The loophole in Oronsai report. If you're interested in that one, you find that in the pages of the Daily Trust this morning. Now talking business here. Air Peace moves to crash London flight fares. Is one story there from the Daily Trust. And lastly, reps reject bill seeking 50% votes to win presidential governorship polls.
All right, the Punch newspaper. I take full responsibility. Nigeria will recover, according to Tinubu. Subsidy removal. Petrol import crashes by 990 million litres monthly. Soyinka delivers Punch 50th anniversary lecture today. SIM-NIN linkage. NCC rules out extension. Telcos bar 12 million lines. MTN, Airtel, others vow to enforce NCC order by midnight Wednesday. Oshoba envoys, others commend Punch at photo exhibition. Away from that, federal government to crash drug prices, get $1 billion from Afrexim Bank. To the red corner, gridlock looms as president visits Lagos. And finally, Makinde suspends revenue collection on farm produce.
All right, some headlines from the Nation newspaper this morning. President plans executive order to cut prices of drugs. 2 foreigners held for forex manipulation. Tinubu, we're laying a solid foundation for restructuring. Federal government insists rejig of agencies won't lead to job cuts. Nigeria's economy is not in a mess, says diplomat. Also from the Nation this morning, you find these stories. First Lady inaugurates Women Agricultural Program to boost food production. NLC can be compelled to work with other unions, says Ajero. Severe fiber cuts disrupt telecom services. 75% of passenger boats on Lagos waterways not seaworthy, says NIWA. And Rivers Governor expresses confidence in President's agenda. Also from the Nation this morning, federal government to establish 24 skills innovative centers across country. President condoles with Akeredolu's family in Owo. Tinubu build for Qatar today. Why federal government will move against Binance, others on Onuga. Senate throws out bill seeking to include Anambra among NDDC states. All right, we'll take some commercials now. When we come back, we'll be delving into some of the headlines and the analysis of the headlines. Just stay with us.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
My guys, I'm always on the go, but I never miss any match day because with the new Showmax Premier League app, every match day is my day. Stream the Premier League live on the new Showmax app for just 2,900 monthly. Chicken change for you and chicken change for me.
Yes, so you've heard Obi Kubana. Join the excitement and stream all 380 games of the Premier League live on your mobile. Download and subscribe to the new Showmax app today. Showmax, streaming for Africa.
Mr. Teacher, please, what happens when children come to school? How is it that they leave home very neat and return looking so different?
Non-stop action, ma. All the learning and sports burn energy. So those sweat stains, torn uniforms, and dirty shoes, they show that your kid has been very active.
Now, wow.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
mo ti ní tẹ́lẹ̀ kì í ṣogún ìní o tí o bá ní ìlà Glo kankan tí o ti sopọ̀ mọ́ NIN rẹ àǹfààní ìkẹyìn rèé fún ọ láti sopọ̀ kí wọ́n bá bàa di ìlà rẹ. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o àjọ Nigerian Communication Commission NCC ti sọ pé tí o bá ti so NIN rẹ pọ̀ mọ́ ìlà Glo rẹ wọ́n máa di ìlà rẹ ni o sì ní ìkànsíra ẹni mọ́ o ní lè ṣe okòwò ọjà rẹ lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ rẹ o ní lè pè tàbí gba ìpè ṣe àtẹ̀ránṣẹ́ tàbí ṣíṣe àyẹ̀wò iye tó kù nínú àpò ìkówósí rẹ torí náà má jẹ́ kó já ẹ kúrò tẹ *996# báyìí tàbí kí o rìn lọ sí ibùsọ̀ Glo tàbí ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn aṣojú tí ń ṣe ìforúkọsílẹ̀ síìmù tí ó bá súnmọ́ ọ láti so NIN rẹ pọ̀ mọ́ ìlà Glo rẹ kí o sì wà digbí lórí ìlà rẹ títí láé tí o bá sì ní NIN kàn lọ sí ọ́fíìsì NIMC nítòsí rẹ láti ṣètò tiẹ̀ rántí ọ̀fẹ́ ní ìforúkọsílẹ̀ síìmù.
Unlimited.
Please pay attention. If you find yourself getting dizzy, tired, headaches, sweating too much, or even muscle cramps, it might be signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke. This happens when your body cannot maintain a cooler temperature because the weather is too hot. If you see the signs, please move the person to a cooler place. Give them cold water to drink and apply ice packs or cold water to their body. Keep yourself hydrated. This message is brought to you from 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan.
Láti ṣe oúnjẹ tó dáa máa ń múnú mi dùn. Ìdí tó fi jẹ́ wípé nígbàkúùgbà tí n bá ń ṣe oúnjẹ, mo máa ń fi kóró náà dára sí. Fún ẹ̀fọ́ sí, ugu o, tàtàṣé o, ṣọ̀mbọ̀ o, àlùbọ́sà. Kò sí ohun tí mo kì í fi sí tán. Ìdí táwọn ọmọ mi ṣe ń gbádùn oúnjẹ mi nìyẹn.
Mami, mi ò yọ, mo fẹ́ sí.
Ṣẹ́rí, ṣètò gbogbo oúnjẹ rẹ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó ewébẹ̀. Wá fi kóró náà dára sí fún adùn tó gbámúṣé yẹn. Lónìí, jẹun tó dáa.
Ẹ̀yin fans mi.
It's okay.
Ẹ lọ sórí Facebook ní 32 FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ àsápù.
It's okay.
Now, what does it mean to be the overall best? Is it the overall accolades or the overall bragging rights? Is it the roar of the crowd cheering your name over all others? Introducing Overall Best Celebrity Showdown on Africa Magic, where big names play big games. Watch Saturday and Sunday from the 3rd of March as 3 squads led by 6 celebrity captains go head-to-head for 7 straight weeks of fun, games, and fierce competition for the title of Overall Best. From Africa Magic Showcase, Urban and Family. Stay connected to DSTV. It's your moment.
Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. With our unique expertise, we select fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world. Experience Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip. Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Thank you for staying tuned to the Break of Dawn Papers Review on 32 FM 94.9. This beautiful Thursday morning, we dive now into the analysis of some of the stories. I am DENIKE Ademuwago.
And I'm Kenny Durutilu. Professor Oluwajedokun joins us this morning. Good morning, Prof.
Top of the day to you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's start off with this one. NCC has issued a directive to telecom service providers to bar subscribers who have failed to link their phone numbers to their NIN. What are the potential implications of this directive for law enforcement agencies in Nigeria currently as things stand, particularly in terms of their ability to track and monitor criminal activities? And there's also the other angle of some vulnerable groups and not being able to access some of these registration centers. Do you think that these telcos have done enough to actually reach some of those groups?
Some would say it's gone on long enough. I mean, it's been almost 2 years, if not longer. But I think the reason why the telcos, why the relevant commission has taken that decision is because they want to cut off those who have mobile phones not registered and use it for criminality. But I thought there was a court decision, where they were barred and said, no, you can't disconnect these people. So I would imagine that whatever decision they've made has to be inconsistent with the court decision. But I think you find a balance. I think we can't go on registering forever. Right. There must be a cut-off period. And at the same time, if that window, you understand, of non-registration or non-linking, the linking, is giving room and avenue to criminals, then I think some would suggest that it is better that you cut it off, even if it's going to affect some vulnerable people, because the criminals are causing a lot of damage, to lives and, of course, to many people's circumstances. But I think, again, that the NCC or the relevant commission, I can't remember their name, the relevant commission should do everything possible to make sure that the vulnerable people are protected and that there's a way for them, to get their linkage sorted. Because as it stands, there's about 12 million lines that we hear is going to be barred right now. Yes. You have to ask the question, out of the 12 million lines, how many of them are vulnerable? How many of them are criminals? And it's going to be very difficult because you can't just look at somebody and say it's a criminal or whatever, but you can look at areas and you can look at where crimes are prevalent and you can make hazard guess that you understand these areas are probably where a lot of the crimes come from. It's stereotyping to a certain extent, but 12 million seems to be a lot. So to me, I would say delay to a bit, you understand, make sure that the vulnerable people are sorted, and then of course have that cut-off date that you can go by. But again, it has to be consistent with the court orders. I believe there's a subsistent court order somewhere which says you cannot cancel this. Is it cancel or
bar?
Bar the word being the word bar. Thank you.
Do you think that this is a ripple effect from the conversation surrounding these people can be traced with their NIN, these numbers and all of that? Probably that was what inspired the barring at such a time like this.
Yes, I think there are two aspects of it. The fact that if they are not linked to NIN, you can't trace them, you can't monitor them. And the federal government is determined to send money. They call it conditional cash transfers. And the only way they can send this is if the linkage between your NIN, your phone, and to a certain extent to your BVN. And of course, it helps also the federal government to ensure that many of the vulnerable people are registered. Because either way, the federal government is going to has stopped giving people the physical cash.
What about BVN? What about the link of BVN? Like you just said, probably some transfer that has happened and did not get properly linked or something like that.
Well, I'm confused about that because really, I thought once you have your NIN, automatically you should take into account your BVN. I thought that was part of the process. But apparently it's not, from that point of view. And I think all these things need to be ironed out so that the BVNs needs to be sorted. But my assumption is if you have NIN, then it should be linked to your BVN. Or what's the whole point? Do we have to have multiple registrations?
All right, let's talk about the NLC for a bit. The president of the NLC, Joe Ajaero, yesterday talked about why they stopped the protest, which was supposed to be for 2 days. And they're saying that it was due to intimidation and threats. They said they were threatened with all manners of consequences if they continued the protest. And also, Ogun NLC seems not to be backing down. They said there is no going back on demand for 1 million naira minimum wage. Would you say that this speaks to a lack of vision, especially when the national body in itself has suspended the strike? And seeing that this will jack up the prices of things beyond measure, it seems very unrealistic, but do you think they're trying to fall somewhere, even if it's not 1 million, maybe 500,000 and all of that?
Well, first and foremost, I would say that it was quite surprising to many of us that the strike was called off. A relief, but still surprising at the same time, if that's possible. And I think some people would suggest that, Jero, you understand, it's not being completely honest. You understand, you do not go to battle without first, counting the cost. You understand? And it would seem to me that NLC went to battle, in quote, without counting the cost. In fact, if you look at some states like Oyo State, the governor, you understand, went out with the people. If you looked at Lagos State, the police were with the people, giving them water and some biscuits, nibbles here and there. So I would say first and foremost that the NLC didn't appear to have been very serious about this strike. They just wanted to put up a show, and at the slightest intimidation, as they call it, they decided to pack their loads and go back home. Of course, the Ogun State NLC is not backing down. They're not backing down because there's a lot of pressure from the people. Remember that this strike is not fueled by personal ego. It is fueled by the circumstances, the suffering, and what people are going through. That's why people are striking, or call it protest, if you may, from that point of view. So I think the split between the Ogun State NLC and the national shows that, that the people are not backing down in some respect, maybe minority, and that sometime if the NLC doesn't manage this process well, they would lose the support of the people. And if they lose the support of the people, it's going to be disastrous for us, because NLC at least puts a break and ensures that things are well organized. If you then have the kind of NSAS kind of activity going on, who do you hold to account? Who do you control?
All right, we take this headline. 2 Binance executives arrested, detained in crypto crackdown. I'm sure you must have seen that one, Prof. What do you make of this, the potential impact of the crackdown on Binance and other cryptocurrency exchanges on the market and the cryptocurrency space as a whole?
A feature of the cryptocurrency, which in Nigeria, by the way, they sort of made it illegal, is that you can't really regulate it. It's not something that you can regulate. And so the government has been very particularly nervous, you understand, as to the crypto itself. But that's not even the problem. The problem is that they feel there's economic sabotage, and they feel, you understand, I'm not saying they have the proof, that they are the ones manipulating, you understand, the Naira. Because you may close down the Bureau de Change, but can you do that with the crypto? It's very difficult, you understand. Even in America, Britain, they've not found a way to regulate it properly, because of the nature of the cryptocurrency and the instruments that are being used. So I think questions are going to be asked. In fact, I understand that some of these executives have been told to give names and details of their customers and so on and so forth. We'll see whether they will do that. But whatever they do, it has to be in accordance with the law. They have to establish what law have they broken. Establish it. I'm not saying they haven't broken any law. Right. Nor am I saying that they are innocent, as the case might be. But we need to protect our economy. You know that the Naira has been going up and down like a yo-yo. Most of the time up, then it comes down a bit and up. And I think the federal government needs to do something. And I think that's part of what EFCC, the National Security Advisor, and the police are trying to do, so that we can get some order. But it will be all the lawyers of Binance to prove that they've not done anything illegal and have only been operating on the margins of the free market.
All right, reps, according to this report, wants the frequent power grid collapse probed. That was yesterday. They're calling for the urgent probe of the nation's power grid. The motion is cited the need to investigate the recent frequent collapse of the national grid moved by a particular member. Of course, it's a cause for concern, really, how often the grid collapses and the situation of power in the country.
Well, it's a cause for concern, but really, why is it collapsing? It's collapsing because of lack of previous investment. And of course, if you're not going to get the investment from government has no money, or from private sector, then we're going to continue to experience it.
So you do not share the sentiment that there are people internally that are probably sabotaging the power grid?
There's always been an element of sabotage, but I don't think the sabotage is the main reason. I think the main reason is that our population is increasing, our usage is increasing, and the equipment, to be able to do the generation and indeed the distribution, you understand, it's inadequate. See, Aba, that in Aba you're going to get in 24 hours power because, of course, they've done their power plant. All this situation of concentrating the grid in Oshogbo or somewhere, you understand, has led us into this situation. For crying out loud, they say we are 220 million. And yet we cannot generate as much as South Africa, that is supposed to be about maybe 50 or 60 million, from that point of view. Egypt, that is less than our population, or indeed many of our competitors. So part of the problem is that we've not been able to generate enough. Therefore, when it comes to distribution, there are some bottlenecks. So I think long-term investment is going to be the solution. And of course, proper privatization, because subsidies is what is keeping these distribution companies going. Subsidy. In other words, we're not really paying the true cost of electricity. And if we did pay the true cost, can you imagine the economic
If we did pay the true cost, what's the implication? Do we get 24 hours electricity if we pay the true cost?
We could, because if you go to places, I don't want to mention particular places, so it's not as if I'm advertising. There's some actual places, resorts, that have 24 hours from National Grid, and they pay through their nose. For instance, people have been complaining about power, but where I stay, the area that I stay, power has been more regular than elsewhere. Why? Because we pay through our nose. So the more you pay, the better power you get, from that point of view. But many people cannot afford to pay it. That is the problem that we face. So do we go in a situation where we jack up the amounts people that can pay, so that they will subsidize people that cannot pay? Would it be enough? And I think that's the question that needs to be explored.
All right, Prof, your reaction to this headline: subsidy removal, petrol import crashes by 990 million litres monthly. That's about 50% since the withdrawal of subsidy. How does less petrol coming into the country because of the removal of subsidy affect availability, cost of fuel for people here, especially with the worries about prices going up, living cost, and all of that?
I guess it was inevitable because, number one, we were importing a lot of crude oil that was refined from that point of view. So a lot of that was coming in. We're still doing that to a certain extent because Dangote's capacity cannot even carry it from that point of view. But I guess the implication is that a lot of this importation, that was coming in was because there was a lot of demand. Now a lot of people they've cut down their essential journeys. Economic activity is compressed. Right. You've heard the story about, the story of this company that made a loss? I'm trying to remember their name. Nestle. You understand? All those activities. It means they're buying less fuel. Therefore, we need less fuel. We're making lesser journeys. I've cut down my journeys. Right. Many people have cut down. So a lot of it is the demand, and it also impacts on the economic growth and activity. Because if you have less people moving around, you understand, then it could affect the growth of the economy from that point of view. Some people would argue that what some people have done is smarter. When you don't need to go to work, you can still do the same economic activity from your house or from wherever. So I think it's also going to make us smarter in terms of needless journeys. If you don't need to make the journey, then why are you making it? If either as an office or either as a person from a personal point of view. So yes, initially it reduces the economic activity, but also it creates new and innovative ways of doing business.
All right, what do you think of Philip Shaibu storming the PDP headquarters to demand his certificate of return? According to him, he says yesterday was the day set aside for collection of his certificate as the winner of the primary, and that he understands that someone came yesterday and was given, and he's going to court.
Well, he says that he won. There's a primary, there were two parallel primaries.
Right.
One says that he won, and one says that Ighodalo,
yes.
Yes, Ighodalo, Ighodalo won. So we have two competing claims, and if it can be resolved by the PDP relevant committee, then of course they have to go to court to resolve it. So I imagine that Philip Chiabo, the deputy governor, remember he's the deputy governor of Edo State, feels that he won against all odds. He didn't have the support of the governor. He didn't have the support of the governor structures yet. He would suggest that he pulled a remarkable feat by winning, you understand. But that's going to be tested. Of course, Eswa Igodalo is going around saying he's the candidate. I think time will tell. The court is the best way to resolve it, the appropriate manner to resolve it. But we wonder what INEC's view is.
All right, we have to go on commercial break. When we return, we'll open the phone lines to take your reaction. We're streaming on 32FM 949 Fenye. Stay with us.
You're listening to 32FM 94.9.
bó ṣe ń wò mí yìí mo jẹ́ kan nínú àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ jẹun dáadáa ìdí tó fi jẹ́ wípé tí mo bá fẹ́ jẹun ọ̀pọ̀ nǹkan tó dáa ni mo máa ń fi sínú ẹ̀ fún àsáró mi lẹ́yìn tí mo bá fẹja sí i màá fàlùbọ́sà tàtàṣé àti úgú ṣẹ̀jọ́ ẹ̀ màá wá fi kóró náà tá a jẹ́ kó sọkútù wọ̀wọ̀ sí i fádùn tó gbámúṣé ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi ìgbé ayé tó dáa ni téèyàn bá jẹun tó dáa.
ṣẹjọ gbogbo oúnjẹ rẹ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó ewébẹ̀ wá fi kóró náà dára sí i fún adùn tó gbámúṣé yẹn lónìí jẹun tó dáa.
ní Lipton nínú ìkòkò dúdú ni ẹ̀kọ funfun ti ń jáde lójúmọ́ la fi ń ṣa ewé tíì torí kí a lè ṣàmúlò ewé tíì tó dára jùlọ láti pèsè ògidì tíì tí títa sánsán òórùn rẹ̀ máa ń kan sáárá jáde. ngan nìṣẹ̀dá Lipton Yellow Label tea tó ń jẹ́ oṣù ṣámúṣámú lóòrèkóòrè. tíì Lipton Yellow Label ń ṣe ni lákọ̀tún nígbàkigbà.
gbádùn ògidì ife Lipton Yellow Label tea tirẹ̀.
Now, what does it mean to be the overall best? Is it the overall accolades or the overall bragging rights? Is it the roar of the crowd cheering your name over all others? Introducing Overall Best Celebrity Showdown on Africa Magic, where big names play big games. Watch Saturday and Sunday from the 3rd of March as 3 squads led by 6 celebrity captains go head-to-head for 7 straight weeks of fun, games, and fierce competition for the title of Overall Best. From Africa Magic Showcase, Urban and Family. Stay connected to DSTV. It's your moment.
I know say make you no follow anybody where you won't follow, but no matter who you follow, no forget follow us at 32FM 949 Fenye on Facebook.
Get in on the action with Betano, your exciting destination for sports betting. Enjoy an award-winning experience with amazing betting options, cash outs and missions, as well as other features. Join now and get a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 naira. Betano.ng, the game starts now.
A giant of Africa once said, life is good when you stream. So we did it for you. The soft life queen driven by ambition. The loyal fan that never misses a single game. Here we stream for you. So when you hit the play button, set your dreams in motion, laugh away your struggles, fill the air with the chants of your favorite team, and find the stories that breathe and speak to you. The new Showmax is here. Download the new Showmax app and from 1,200 naira subscribe and dive into the land of streams. Showmax, streaming for Africa.
Please pay attention. If you find yourself getting dizzy, tired, headaches, sweating too much, or even muscle cramps, it might be signs of heat exhaustion. Heat stroke and heat exhaustion are medical emergencies. If you see signs, please move the person to a cooler place. Give them cold water to drink and apply ice packs or cold water to their body. Keep yourself hydrated. This message is brought to you from 32FM 94.9 Ibadan.
FM 94.9.
FM 94.9, filling the world with laughter. The Break It Dawn review, papers review, 32 FM 94.9. It's time to take your reactions. The phone line, 0705 5000 949. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my sister Ade from UI.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I want to, my appeal to NSC I'm very proud of them. My appeal to them is to stop, let them not declare any strike or protest as regards this government we have in power. If people cannot, if you look at the intimidation, it was much. Even some leaders of a particular tribe was even saying their tribe should not join. It is about tribe now, about very many people that are dying on that. Okay, my son, take for example, the former governor of Ekiti State now just bought one SUV for one of the former the fashion. That is SUV. That thing cannot be less than 200 billion. And you are telling me that 𝐿𝐿 it's not bad. People should have been arrested by Obasanjo with EFCC. But because all of them are corrupt, people are not saying anything because the personal law. What is my business? The personal law down, people are dying. Let the NSC stop any side. Let them continue to pay themselves. That's the due deal.
All right, thank you very much. 0705 500949 0809 7949. We're streaming on Facebook. 32FM 949 Fenye.
Hello, good morning.
DENIKE, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Prof, good morning. This is okay. NIN and the blocking. I actually ask a question. All this NIN we did, I actually challenged them. I have not heard, I don't know if Prof have, but I don't think there has been anyone they said they caught over this kidnapping and things for NIN. It's either they will tell you they've gone to collect the money, the ransom is at the process of delivery that they tipped them. So what actually is the essence of the NIN and this so-called BVN? I challenge because I don't really understand. It's a total waste. Not the essence of trying to do it was to curb most of these criminal activities. But these criminal activities, they are increasing every day. And on NLC, it's a pity. Like Prof said, they did not count the cost before they went in. Were they expecting the government to just be clapping for them and say, go on? They weren't prepared. Good morning. It's okay.
All right, thank you. 0705 500949. Some comments on Facebook. Ukediran Babatune says, if linking phone numbers with BVN or NIN or driver's license or voter's card will stop criminality, it's a welcome development. If after doing it and nothing substantial is achieved, then it's become an exercise in futility. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Omotala. I'm calling from Abanga. The ban of sin is all a long time overdue. Why? Most of the criminal activities that the criminals are carrying on will be perpetrated by unregistered phone. It's true unregistered phone that do these things because they know that they can really track them through unregistered phone. So it's a welcome development. Thank you.
All right, thank you. 0705 500949 082 949. Those are the numbers. Once again, we're live on Facebook. You can share your thoughts with us on Facebook. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is General Laraju calling from Agbo. On the issue of NIN, to me, they are just playing, not an idea, just they wanted to push the people to go just do it. That's what they were trying to do. So to say that it will disconnect the people from the to me, I don't from their line rather. I don't believe that one. That's how they did, how they talk in time of NIN. So they just want to use that logic to just threaten the people. And because if you are saying you are going to disconnect them, you don't have the right. They bought this thing from you. And you told them to do the NIN. They did it. They registered. So what is meaning of to go and re-register? How many have registered 2 times? How many times do you want the people to be registered? So definitely you are the one that they are faulted. So you don't need to disconnect them. Thank you and good morning.
All right, thank you. 0705 500949.
Miriam
7949.
Miriam Yetune on Facebook says, good morning. The linking of NIN to SIM lines is indeed a good one, but has it really solved the issue of insecurity? To me, the federal government knows those terrorizing Nigerians, but have failed to do the right thing. Instead, they would rather inconvenience the masses. Federal government should rise up to the occasion, take a proactive step to tackle the issue of insecurity so that businesses will thrive. Okedun Rabamatune says PDP primary election in Edo will be solved by the judiciary. Baristas, the ball is in your court. Since they can't imagine internal affairs, how will they manage? Since they can't manage internal affairs, how will they manage the state affairs? All right, Prof, let's take a look at this one. According to this report from the Punch newspaper, which says something about Afrexim Bank and the cost of medical drug prices in Nigeria. It says federal government to crash drug prices and get $1 billion from Afrexim Bank. We can tell that there's a significant increase in the cost of drugs and pharmaceutical products in the country, in a country where people are just trying to even eat, not to talk of being able to afford, especially those that have to use these medications daily and all of that. Do you think that this is something commendable? We can say this is commendable from the president.
It's absolutely commendable because if you can't use your drugs, then the question of good health or sustained health is far-fetched. And I think interventions of these, in particular industries, are what we need from the federal government. And I'm sure that their intervention at least will help, even call it some form of subsidy or call it some regulation, as it were. It will help many people who are going through a lot from that point of view. So I think federal government should be encouraged, and they should divert a lot of their resources towards making sure that everybody has the drugs that they need and are required to use.
0705 5949 0809 7949. Prof, let's have your thoughts on this one. The executive chairman of the FIRS saying the collection of revenue by over 60 government agencies is the major cause of leakage of funds. He said the duty should be the sole responsibility of the service. That's the FIRS now. The Oronsoi report has recently announced as well. How does government utilize the recommendations of that report to streamline, revenue collection process as a whole? And what do you make of this particular statement?
Yes, I agree that revenue collection should be streamlined, but you can't just have FIS alone, except they have the capacity, and I'm not sure they would have the capacity as we speak. But it's possible that once you rationalize, once you merge, that they might have a much larger capacity, which means they have to have more offices all over the place. If they just have one office tucked away in some area, then it makes it impossible for people to make payment, or frustrating. So they need to make payment easier. So let's not sacrifice making things easier for people at the expense of efficiency, from that point of view. So I think I agree with them that we streamline, but it must be easier for people to access them, to be able to pay maybe on portals or wherever they set up shop, from that point of view. Right. In places like Britain, a lot of the post offices, you can go in if you don't have access to the internet and just make shop. And the post offices are in local areas. We don't have that in this country. So I think that's what we need to look at, accessibility and portability. All
right, okay, Jerome Babatune says, why is it that in Nigeria the national grid is always collapsing? Are we going back to the old Stone Age? Let the government intervene in the cost of inverter batteries or bring in the manufacturers to do it locally. We have the raw materials locally. This will reduce the pressure on the national grid. Elofokombale. Do you agree with this position?
No, the point is that if there are too many people in Nigeria and we are providing too little electricity, we are generating too little, we are distributing too little. So it's going to put pressure. If, for instance, you have a facility, even if it's a house, and it's supposed to be for 4 people, and 100 people are living in it, you just find things are breaking down anyhow because overusage. So that's part of the problem.
All right, we have to go now. Thank you very much, Professor Oluwajedokun, for joining us this morning. I do appreciate your insights. This has been the Papers Review for today, the 29th of February. My name is Kenny Durutilu.
And my name is DENIKE Ademuwagun. The Smart Kids Show comes up next.